welcome back to another episode of the Game Addicts podcast. That show where we talk about games and such, and modern and old, and all the stuff that tickles our fancies, and we hope that we're tickling your fancy here today with episode 177. A little bit of a in-between episode. We had more stuff that we wanted to talk about in the last one, but we went over an hour just talking about really the showcase stuff, and felt like we should save some of these topics for maybe a little episode in between some of these big announcements we have going on. We have the PlayStation Showcase. We have an Xbox Showcase, a Starfield thing. We have Summer Games Fest. No E3. E3 is in the ground, I guess. It's all done. No more E3s, but that was kind of the writing on the wall anyway. So here we are here today. And once again, I'm one of your hosts, Brando, and joining me is this podcast player 2, Mike.
Hello.
Hello. How does today find you, good sir?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
What you been playing lately? We haven't talked about that like in the last couple episodes.
Mainly just going through Grounded again with my wife. They had released the Super Duper DLC? Not really DLC. Just added a little bit of stuff more to the yard. And then currently by myself, I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom, and we'll definitely get into that. Do you want to cover that first after I tell you about what I've been playing?
Sure.
Yeah. So Mike's been playing some Tears of the Kingdom. I did not get it yet. I will get it eventually. But I think I might have said on the previous episode or one before that, like with the gaming budget being as it has been and all that kind of stuff, I had there's a lot of games coming out this year that were like, maybe this one, maybe this one, maybe this one, but I really had to dial it in as far as what I really wanted to get, and everything else is probably going to have to wait until I can get it cheaper. I have no problem playing through an older game because I just did that with one of the Assassin's Creeds like a few months ago, where I played one that was like from 2016 or something like that. But I've been playing with my son. We've been playing GoldenEye. We've been playing like MLB The Show together, but not together, if that makes any sense. Where I have two copies of The Show 22. I have one on the Switch and one on the PlayStation. Well, I moved to the PlayStation and he played on the Switch, and he's learning how to play it. So he's playing like he's holding the handheld, the Switch in his hand while I'm playing on the TV, and he's trying to learn everything. And trust me, when it comes to the, like sports games and stuff, there's a learning curve. When you pick up a game like that, learning the controls, not necessarily the most easiest thing to do. I tried to do that maybe a year or two ago with one of the NBA 2K games, and whew, I can't remember which one it was. It was the one where like the story mode, the campaign mode, where you create your guy and you get drafted, and they have all these cutscenes, and like they have a nickname for you, and they're like the first thing is a high school game. There's gonna be some scouts, and apparently you're like this badass basketball player at this high school, and then it got to the game where you had to play the game, and I couldn't do anything, and I thought that was like low key the funniest thing I've ever done, where they're like the whole cutscene was like, oh, you got this, baller, whatever they're saying, man. They're like, oh yeah, man, like you gonna show them, and then I'm out there just like. Like a granny had never played basketball a day in her life. I thought that was hilarious. But I'm waiting for my Final Fantasy Switch shipment to come in. The Pixel remasters, they are en route. However, it's still taking a while to get here. They shipped out finally on May 30th, and today is what, the 4th? So as of yet, they have yet to reach the States. But I'm playing the patient wait game because this will come in, and here in another few weeks, Final Fantasy 16 will come in, and then we're right back into the Final Fantasy awesomeness, which we have more to talk about that here in a little bit. But Mike, you've been playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This game has been pretty highly heralded amongst fans and critics alike, saying that, hey man, Nintendo did it again with one of the rare sequels for Zelda games. Even though these are all, they have like this big timeline you can go down for all the Zelda games, and it gets really confusing with this is where it starts, and it deviates into 3 paths, and it comes back together. I have a hard time following it, but like there are some of these games like where you had Ocarina of Time and then Majora's Mask. Those games are linked 100%. It's the same. It's a sequel. And then you have, in a way, where it was a Link to the Past and then Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. That was a sequel to Link to the Past, and then of course then a Link Between Worlds, right? But then now you have Breath of the Wild and now Tears of the Kingdom, which this is like the third game that they've done with story elements from the Breath version of Zelda, because they did the original game, and I think the second Hyrule Warriors game had like stuff that was set during the Great War. I didn't play.
I don't play those games, so I don't know.
I've played the original one, but I did not play the second one. But I remember hearing that as a story was like, that's actually kind of neat idea to do another one of those horde battle games. Like it kind of seemed to fit perfectly with what they wanted to do gameplay wise. But now, 100% sequel for Tears of the Kingdom. You've spent some time with it. What do you think?
I like it. I mean, it is what you want a advancement of Zelda to be. It is the original game. I mean, it's all there other than calamity changes, the uplifting. Yeah, I think is what they call it. Outside of that, it's kind of going back. So I don't know how they're going to put this one in order, because spoiler alert for those. Brandon, do you want spoilers?
Go for it, man.
Okay, so basically you go back, Zelda goes back in time to the origins of Hyrule, and it's kind of showing how it became what it is, blah blah blah. I've only really not been that far, because when I play the Zelda games, I spend majority of my first couple hours just getting shrines, getting hearts, getting extra stamina, because you need it. You know you're going to need it. So I don't even advance in the story for quite a few hours in the game. A couple of things I really like is that I get my horses from the original. So when I went to the stable, I still had a pony. I believe that is a amiibo horse. I'm almost 100%.
Oh, yeah. Epona.
Because I have the Joanna bought me the Zelda one that I have for Twilight Princess.
Yeah,
that's where Acclaimed's at. So it's really neat, but you can't use the new stuff. So like, there's a saddle that you get that you can only use on horses from Tears, and it'll allow you to build a wagon attached to the horse, so you can have your carriage and stuff. I believe everything they added is what it needs to be added. I like the towers. So they have new towers now. You jump up in the air. It launches you in the air. You scan the area. That's how you get your scans. Kind of like the other one, except for a little bit more tech advanced. It seems like this game that it's very much tech advanced than it was before.
Yeah.
But they added so much little stuff, a lot of little stuff. Like, hey, here's this random lady running around Hyrule. Hey, I'm a fashion design craze girl. Did you know there's a bunch of secret outfits? So you go around and get outfits, kind of like in the first one, where you had your secret outfits that were out around. So like the barbarian suit gives you more attack power, but the weapon building is absolutely phenomenal. You can actually build weapons. You take parts. Like I killed one of the golems. It's a boss golem to get the barbarian chest piece. And what I did, each one of these characters drops a specific item that you cannot put in your inventory, but you can attach it to a weapon, and it makes it a special custom weapon. And I thought that was amazing. So far, everything about the game is exactly what you want it to be. It is Tears, or it is Breath with more sky stuff and the ability to create anything you want.
I've seen a
I really
lot
love
of
it.
stuff. Yeah, I've seen a lot of
I
stuff.
really like it. It's easy to get lost in it. Like I said, I haven't spent that much time really playing around with the building system and stuff like that. I just built what I needed to, just getting shrines, preparing to go to the volcanic area first. Um, anybody that's ever played the game knows, you got to make a bunch of food. So,
Yeah.
it's fire resistant. You got to make sure you have clothes. It's fire. You got a lot to do. So there's a lot going on. I really like it. I think they did I think it's a solid 9.5 out of 10, easily.
Well, that is hilarious that you said that, because I just pulled up Metacritic, and the average meta score from the critics is 95.
Yeah, I think that's perfect, because I haven't advanced in the story enough to say that the story's good, but so far the story is better than Breath of the Wild. It's more informational.
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot of backstory. I enjoy it. They added so you can fly up in the air. Obviously,
Yeah,
it's one of the big things. This is sky areas, but you can get a weather balloon essentially and go up, and they now have pictograms that came up out of the ground, and you read them, and that's how you get your memories. So remember, in the first one, you do certain stuff, you get your memories back. Well, this is kind of the same thing, except that they do it with these old pictures that come up on the ground, and you survey them, and then you have to go find where the quote-unquote tier would be inside of that picture. It's usually fairly simple,
mm-hmm.
but and then it gives a backstory of like what's going on with Zelda, because you have no idea where she is, you have no idea what's going on. You see a lot more lore. There's tons of lore in the game. You go into these chasms and they have pictures up. It's really, really, really well done, in my opinion. I think it's better than Breath.
That's awesome, because
I love Breath.
I've heard that they stepped the story up a notch. Yeah, like
they stepped everything up.
Yeah,
like it is the game. It is Breath of the Wild, but I mean, I walked in, I was like, yeah, I don't need tutorials. I already know what I'm doing. And combat was Breath. Combat. You literally the same combat, but then they added in a few, like being able to create weapons on the fly. I like it. I think it's very well done. Exactly what we needed in a Zelda sequel. Because like you said, how many real sequels do we have? Like true sequels.
Right.
You can say Majora's Mask is a sequel, because it is.
Yeah.
It's also a sequel in a different timeline, because
it's the child. Yeah.
It's Ocarina, you have three. It splits to three. You get the child, the winning, and the failure.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. See, that's where it gets a little murky, because you have the games that are sequels that are technically timeline sequels that are set. You have the different timelines, but then you have the games that like
Skyward Sword.
Yeah, okay, so like but you have the games that are like this, where it is a sequel in the traditional sense, where it's set in the same map style and world of the previous entry, whereas some of the other ones, it's like the one where you Ocarina of Time, where the hero loses. That's then the next game I think is A Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love that game, but that's not like if that's a timeline sequel to the hero loses, it doesn't feel like that game comes next or is set in that same. Even though to them it is, and to their explanation it is, but to me, like when you say a sequel, it is like this, where you have. Hey man, you remember Breath of the Wild? You're gonna love this because you're going back to this world. You're going back to what you already explored here, and we're gonna give you more. And it was the same way where when you played Ocarina and then Majora's felt like just an extension of Ocarina. It's where gameplay, everything about that game, you're like, if you played Ocarina, you're gonna feel comfortable here. Some of those other titles don't necessarily do that, and that's fine. But it's really neat to see them double down with their success and I'm glad that you love it, and that means a lot, because then I know that I'm really gonna love it. I had no doubt that I was not going to like it. It's just, man, I teetered on this game, whether or not I should get it. But then I felt like it came out too close.
I did too, and then I had one of those moments where you're like, wait, I didn't get that. It's like you're so other like everything else going on in our lives right now. There's always so much. I mean, we've been working a ton of time.
Yeah.
I've been trying to keep up at home. I've been having trouble with cars and stuff. So I haven't really I got sidetracked, and then I just bought it because I was like, oh, I didn't buy this. I should buy this. And then forgetting that, I was like, no, I was gonna wait for a while to get it because me and my wife were spending all of our time playing games together.
Right.
And then I just bought it because she was like, yeah, why didn't you buy that? You need to buy that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I bought it, and then I was like, oh, wait. I was going to wait. Oh, well, I'm going to start playing it when I get a chance. And I'm glad I did. I highly, highly recommend it. I'll tell you what I'd like to see, though. Because this is to me, this is going to be the start. So, Skyward Sword was supposed to be one of the starters, if I'm correct.
One of the start of the timelines.
The original start of a timeline. The original start of all the timelines, correct?
If you look at the timeline entry, I think Skyward Sword's number 1.
So this is going to date back before that. It's going to be before and after. It's going to be she gets to go back and see what happened.
Well, okay, because if you look at the timeline entry, it's like you have the Skyward Sword, you go down to Ocarina eventually, and it splits into 3, and then it comes back together for Breath, where Breath is like a reset, or whatever, and then you have Tears. So,
and that's the thing. It's it's essentially my opinion on it. Yet again, I haven't been so far through it, so those of you that have already played all the way through it, you're already going to know what's going to happen. I'm only speculation on how far I've gotten, which is not very far. Like I said, it's been a couple hours just playing around, learning the world, getting hearts. But it seems like she goes back in time, quote unquote, goes back in time, and is able to see the creation and then the original calamity is what I've gathered from it. And I have fought a version of Dark Ganon. I guess you'd call him Dark Ganon. He sucks real bad. I was not prepared. He hits you all the way down to 1 heart every single time.
Ouch.
No matter what you got, he's dropping 6 hearts. And then if you're standing within his aura, you automatically lose a heart. Just so when you attack, you're going to lose a heart. But it's a pain. It's pain.
It's awesome that the game scored so good and is being received so well. And we've had quite a few games this year get positive reception from both critics and fans alike.
Which is good because we had a real big drought of super high negativity. I mean, look at the people that put Breath down because it shouldn't be this good. It should never get these scores. And
overrated, yeah.
Yeah, there were other games that people did that, and there's a lot of negativity in the world. Don't add to the negativity.
Right.
In my opinion, I mean, I'm negative. It's just negative, but I get it.
Yeah, dude.
Don't add any more.
And that's what we've always tried to do here on the podcast, and not dwell too much on the negativity. Yep. That is one thing that, during that time where I should have been recording more, I had a hard time wanting to make episodes because everything newsworthy in gaming was all negative for a while, and I really, really, really hated it. But I pulled up Metacritic, and I'm going to go through some of these games that have been released so far this year that have. I'm starting at 86. Okay, so Final Fantasy.
Wait! You score 86?
The score of 86.
Okay.
I scrolled down. I'm not going to say every game on this list. I'm not. I'm just going to cherry pick, and we're going to look at some of the bigger releases. But Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, 86. That's pretty good. And then you go up to.
I'm going to be honest. I'm a little surprised that that's so low, because it has 2 of the biggest Final Fantasy games of all time on it.
But they're also re-releases. And
yeah, but still, I mean,
there was some.
How much did you pay for yours?
More than I should, because I got
Just what's the average price? 80?
75, 80.
75 for there's two games, Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah.
That are critically acclaimed and arguably the best Final Fantasies ever.
Yep. You could arguably say that 4 is where Final Fantasy started as we know it, because it was while 2 and 3 did have stories, 4 was the first one that was really character driven.
Yes.
With a narrative and had a full-blown story arc that took a lot of cues from Star Wars, heavily influenced from Star Wars for FF4.
Yes.
But it really captured the minds. But yeah, no, I feel like the reason why it's at 86, they did make some improvements to it from the PC and mobile releases. So like where you can add retro style text. I know that is something small, but when you're playing an old game and the text is nice and super smooth and crisp, instead of it looking like pixels like everything else in the game, it looks weird. But it
does look different. It makes the whole ambiance be like, what am I playing?
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you put this kind of effort from the text box into the game?
Right.
I got it. Yeah, totally understand.
So 87, Hi-Fi Rush was that random ass crazy cartoony looking game from Xbox that they just said, hey, look at this game. By the way, it's out. You're like, what is this? And it was like this kind of like really bright cartoony hop around. It kind of reminded me a little bit of visual style of Jet Set Radio from Dreamcast era, where you're on your roller skates. So that got an 87. Hogwarts Legacy got an 87. Diablo 4 got an 87 on the PS5.
On the PS5.
Yeah.
They didn't have it rated for PC.
It's probably on here. It might be up there a little bit higher. Dead Space got an 89. Oh, the remake of Dead Space. Yeah. Resident Evil 4, 92 on PC. Oh, Series X Diablo 4 got a 92. The RE4 on PS5 got a 93. Street Fighter 6, 93 on PC.
The question is like the difference between them, is it just graphical? Like, it's the same game. It runs the same. They've already designed it for console. And then because they were designing console before they did the PC version, and, all of us Diablo fans fucking flipped out. Sorry for the language, but
well, what it might be is that some of these reviews some people might be only be reviewing the PC copy. They only review PC games, so there might when you think that the lowest rating for Diablo 4 was in like what did I say it was in 87?
87.
Okay, so an 87 is the lowest version that was on the PS5. So I don't know why that got that low, but then you scroll up and you're like, all right, there it is again. So you're within the window. You're within 5 points of of goodness, I guess. But then they at the beginning of the year they finally came out with the next gen version of Witcher 3 that got a 94.
Witcher 3 still making the freaking charts.
Yeah.
Even how many years now?
It's been a couple, yeah.
About 8.
Also getting a 94 is the Metroid Prime remaster. And then 95, Tears of the Kingdom. So the reason why I wanted to talk about that just a little bit is that, man, could this be it already is a big year for awesome games that have come out. That have, Tears broke sales records. Hogwarts Legacy broke sales records. A lot of people lining up to buy these games. And then you have, like, Metroid Prime getting, like, okay, hey, guess what? Oh, guess what? It also comes out next month or 2 months. You're like, really? And then you get it. And you're like, well, this is a really damn good remaster.
It was solid. They didn't change. The controls are smooth. Like, I favor these controls over the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, the GameCube controller is not the greatest for this kind of shooter, but it works. They did a great job with everything they added, because they really only added controller.
Yeah.
Like, really emphasize on improving controller. Obviously, they improved graphics. But the story is the same. Everything's location is the same, because I was able to go through it. I love this game. I played it hundreds of times legitimately, and I know where everything is, so I can just run right through there, get everything I need without in the right order. And they did a great job. Nothing changed. Just made everything very nice and shiny. The Phazon suit is very shiny.
Yeah.
It's very shiny, very distracting. But no, I think so far, like with these remasters this year, everything's been great.
So
Everything we needed.
the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because we've also had a couple of games come out with maybe subpar reaction, and then we get a letter from the devs. And I have it happened with Jedi Survivor, Star Wars game, which for the most part has been well received among the fans of the first game. But there were some struggles with it on the PC version. And so like they were having issues getting it compatible. It's like players with cutting-edge multi-threaded chipsets designed for Windows 11 were encountering problems on Windows 10 or high-end GPUs coupled with lower-performing CPUs, saw some unexpected frame loss. So the worst thing about Jedi Survivor was frame loss. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is I saw a screenshot that there was like 8 or 9 of them. And they weren't all from this year, but some of them were from this year alone. Like going all the way back to Cyberpunk debacle. When that game came out, and it was just horse manure as far as like how well it was running. That game came out, and it shouldn't have. It got pushed out for holiday sales, and they should have sat on that. They honestly should have sat on that game for another year. And they should not at all have promised that for the existing generation, because that's what really, really messed them up. On a game that was that big in scope, and they were like trying to get it, because they had to get it running on base PS4 and Xbox One consoles, and it was struggling so bad. By the time I bought the game, I have feral kids. It's okay. Guys, don't worry. He's fine.
Donnie Thornberry's at it again.
Yeah, he's in there raising hell. But no,
Good Lord.
I don't know what he's getting into.
I mean, I can hear it clearly. I don't know if they can on the podcast, but Lord.
So okay, so you've got a different microphone. Yours is yours picking up a little bit. They're different than this one, so hopefully it's a little bit quieter. However, like I got Cyberpunk, and I think I got it half off, which is probably more than what I should have spent for it.
That's sad.
Well,
that you say that.
The reason why I bought it is that you got it half off plus the Steelbook from Best Buy. Both me and our friend Tyler got it at the same time, and both of our Steelbooks showed up damaged. So we went to the store and had to exchange them because the Best Buy ships the Steelbook separate from different places, and whoever shipped that just did not do a good job.
So.
Yeah, they really it was disappointing.
Sorry whoever that was, I apologize, but
do a better job, fellas. Come on, like it's not hard to put.
Do you want to receive damaged goods?
Oh no. Okay, so I don't want to get too distracted, but based off that comment, so this was the Steelbook that I ended up getting from for its replacement. Okay, and it's not the same design that like I got, because they had like 4 different designs for Steelbooks, and it was in a bubble mailer, and it was dented to the point where it wouldn't close. And I told Tyler's, so I saw it and I was disappointed. I'm like, I guess I got to go to Best Buy and complain and be that guy. And Tyler literally that day sent me a picture. He goes, I'm fucking pissed. I went, what's up, man? And all he did was send me a picture of his Steelbook. I'm like, no way. Mine too. Must have been the same guy. But a year later, I got the MLB The Show 22, like I mentioned earlier. And this is the deluxe version with the Steelbook design. And this was shipped in a box. It's not that hard.
It's all about price of shipping, though.
Yeah, but
think about that.
I understand that, but when they say free shipping to your house, or free pickup, and I select free shipping, and a steelbook or a video game in general. I understand that there wasn't a game in this box; it was shipped separately, but this was just a bubble mailer. Okay,
Yes.
this was in a little box.
So, back to the bubble mailer. That's how a copy of a game that we purchased came, and they dropped it off on the porch, and it was windy. And if I wasn't paying attention to the dogs, I had to run outside and run 7 houses down to grab it.
Damn.
Because it was in a bubble mailer, and it just. But it's all about those cost less. So they're trying to, when they say free shipping, they're trying to maximize the amount of profit.
Sure.
Yet again, world's all about maximizing their profits because they don't make enough.
Yep.
Anywho,
nope.
But yeah.
So Cyberpunk.
I get what your frustration is.
Yep. Cyberpunk released a letter, and I still have this saved from all these years ago. Whenever that game came out. First of all, we like to start by apologizing to you for showing the game. For not showing the game on base last-gen consoles before it premiered, and in consequence, not allowing you to make a more informed decision about your purchase. We should have paid more attention to making it play better on PS4 and Xbox One. There's more to it, but I'm not going to say it. The next one, Forspoken. That came out recently. Thank you for all the players who enjoy Forspoken. Since launch, we've been listening to your feedback and hard at work at an upcoming patch that will make improvements to overall performance, graphics, playability, and general updates to fix the game's content across PS5 and various PC hardware configurations. Buddy, there's been more. There was Redfall.
Ooh, Redfall's got some other stuff behind it. It's got some dev negativity where they're like, we should have just scrapped this. Like,
it wasn't we should have. They were wanting it to be scrapped.
That's what I'm saying. Like we should. They're wanting to scrap it. That tells me if devs are wanting to scrap it, it was a problem from the get go.
From the absolute get go, and I just don't understand. If you don't
have Fallout 76
a little bit maybe because if the developer doesn't have the faith in the product, why would you, as the owner of the developer, worry then about getting it out? I understand this for profitability. I get it on that sense. But then you're looking at damaged reputation. Look at how easy it was for, like you said, Bethesda to earn all that goodwill with going all the way back, Morrowind, and then Oblivion, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Skyrim. All these games that, while having their faults, and we're talking about games that aren't performing well, all those games have their own faults and bugs, but they're playable enough to be enjoyed.
Here's the thing, is Skyrim is so loved. It's still coming out and stuff today. They're still looking at updating it to be able to be playable with really no notable upgrades. You can't say that the PS5 version is like, oh yeah, it's way better. It's not. It's exactly the same game. They didn't even up-res it. They didn't even make it look super, super shiny. They didn't spend any time on it. They were just like, hey, look, playable PS5. For full price. Yeah, we bought it. That's my wife's number one favorite game of all time. But the problem is that they were trying to use the same engine for the past 15 years with no upgrades. So we've all had the same problems, same crap falling from the sky, crap lifting to the sky,
Yeah.
Well, why haven't we focused in on this? It shows the laziness and the fact that when you have a game like, let's say, Skyrim with Bethesda, because they're one of the more notable companies right now where the success was so high, they got complacent. It literally was, we made Skyrim. Like, we're still riding the high of Skyrim 11 years later.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. But you haven't made any changes, like Fallout 76 is still the same thing. They were going to use the same engine on Starfield with new gen. It's like, it didn't work, barely worked before. You guys should have put more time and effort into developing a new engine or at least advancing the current engine, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Until the fans literally went, okay, look, we've dealt with it with freaking Skyrim. We dealt with it for freaking Fallout 4. Fallout 76, we're done. It's over. We don't want to hear no more about it. You need to fix it. And then they're like, oh, yeah, Starfield, we're still using the same engine. No, don't.
Yeah.
Fix it. And then they're like, well, we're going to go back and redo everything. Yes, you should. You should have been all this downtime that you've had between stuff instead of trying to make Skyrim work on other stuff. You should have been looking to advancement. You should have hired a separate team to work on something like that. Personal opinion on that, obviously.
There was an apology issued by the developer of Battlefield 2042.
I don't play Battlefield games. So.
I don't either. I'm just saying that was another one. And then just recently, Lord of the Rings Gollum developer issued an apology.
How bad is it? I don't know anything. I haven't really followed it.
I haven't either. It's already one of 2023's worst reviewed titles. I'm on this website called TechSpot that I loaded up. Lord of the Rings Gollum developer apologizes after game is universally panned. So they said, first of all, we would like to thank all of you for your patience and support so far over the last 10 years. Our team has been working hard to bring you a remarkable story over the last years. I'm sorry. I said 10 years. I don't know why I said that.
It's been developed for 10 years and it flopped.
Yeah, oh, man.
Reminds me of Final Fantasy.
Over the last years. Sorry. Yep. Not Duke Nukem forever here.
Right.
We've been working hard to bring you a remarkable story, a breathtaking world filled with magic and wonder. We are dedicated to meeting our community's expectations and uncovering the untold story of Gollum in a way that honors the vision of J.R.R. Tolkien. That being said, in order to deliver the best possible experience, we have decided to push the release of Lord of the Rings Gollum by a few months. We will update you the exact timing in the near future. So this, like, we're getting a mix of really great and awesome reviewed games, and then literally it's becoming almost like a thing where they release the Last of Us PC port. Naughty Dog had to release the damn letter saying, yeah, we know we delayed it, and then we released it, and it still wasn't ready, so we're sorry about that. It almost reminds me of that South Park episode about the BP oil spill with the head of BP laying naked on a bearskin rug saying, we're sorry.
Right.
Sorry. And like, no. And like, don't push it out if it's not ready. I understand that in a way when you're releasing all these new games on PC, it's not going to be 100% perfect because you can't account for every single situation, for every single type of build that somebody has in their damn PC. I get that. It could cause some problems. Obviously, we've already covered some of that. But try to do your due diligence and do the best possible job that you can. And if there's any hint that this is going to be a problem, maybe pull the fucking brakes. I personally think reputation over profitability. You can't go broke. Don't get me wrong. I get that. You got to release a game and you got to make some money. I understand that to a T. But if you're going, like, look at Fallout 76 tarnished Bethesda so hard. One game messed up the reputation of such a and Cyberpunk. CD Projekt Red had built favor, and they had slowly built up their reputation and then had a masterpiece with Witcher 3. And then they have this one, and people are like, well, Witcher 3 was a masterpiece, so this one's going to be great. Look at all the new stuff they're doing. It's a whole new world, and you can do so much stuff. Well, guess what? It's a great game once you get past the problems. But most of the people who got burned, they're not going to go back to it. They're not going to check out that world. I played it at a time where it was running at a solid 30 frames and didn't have any game-breaking bugs. I must have played the game for over 10 hours before I even saw one that was, like, worthy of note. I only saw a couple of the T-pose NPCs, and then I had an issue where, like, with cars exploding or something. I can't remember. But it wasn't that bad. and it was fun, and it was a really cool story. And I need to go back to it and finish it one day. But I've decided that I'm going to wait until the fully released next-gen version with all the DLC is done to see if I care enough to jump back in at that point. We'll see. But I didn't dislike it. But unfortunately, there's going to be a crap ton of people that are never going to play that game. And they tarnish their reputation. Look at BioWare. BioWare slowly did it to themselves since being acquired by EA. And we've talked about that here with the rush.
It's an EA problem.
It is an EA problem.
I'm going to straight up say that right here, and I don't care what people say. Problem with BioWare is EA. EA needs to get their fucking nose out of freaking nose out of crap.
Hey.
And let them do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let them build a good game from the ground up. And Anthem could have been that.
It could have been. It should have been.
Let's get it out. Let's get it out. There's no story, hardly any story to it. The gameplay, absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. But it became super grindy. It was grindier than Destiny. And that's saying something. Right.
So when you have a company that kind of got burned for the Mass Effect trilogy and 3 and how it was kind of rushed in development, and that burned a lot of diehard fans. And then the next game performs well, wins Game of the Year. Seems like, all right, course corrected. But then you have the same problems, maybe even worse, though, with Andromeda. And we've covered that here to death. We've literally beaten that horse, revived him, and then beat him again. So I'm not really going to cover that. But it stumbled, and it got such bad press, and it wasn't a terrible game. It's just it's grindy, and then the story, what's there, is good, but man, you got to work to get to it. And I haven't fully successfully replayed the game because I'm like, I don't want to do all that stuff again. I
haven't even got to the first real info on the survivorship. I stopped there because it was like you told me, you're like, dude, it's gonna be quite grindy until you get to that point. And I was like 2-3 hours into just grinding for that one thing, and I was like, dude, I'm bored.
It gets boring, you know. It was the fact that I was such a diehard that pushed me through it to begin with to experience the story. And at the end of it, man, there's a lot of potential here. I felt like they could have used this as a jumping off point to do some really cool storytelling for what they did with that. But then, okay, we're washing our hands of that. We're taking a break from it, going over here, and we're working on this game. This game's going to be the game that's going to revive our reputation. And it was I don't know how you could have got like if there was any way to get worse, it got way worse. Because Andromeda was not developed by the main BioWare team. That was a new team that was set up as like a side studio. And then the main studio worked on Anthem. And Anthem came out and shit the bed. And now, last year, was it last year or year before? I can't remember now. But I think it was last year, they released the Legendary Edition of Mass Effect Trilogy, where they finally brought them to PS4 or Xbox One. And they did some work to the original game to kind of improve it a bit. And it was universally heralded by people. Yes, this is what we want. This is awesome. This is the old Mass Effect. This is great. I love the changes you made. Well, okay, maybe it wasn't completely universal. Some people were just stuck up. But for the most part, even though Mass Effect 3 is still Mass Effect 3, people are like, well, it's better than what we've been getting. So, cool. So now you've kind of rebuilt a little bit of favor with your diehards. And now you have to deliver with Dragon Age. You have to deliver with the next Mass Effect, especially with the new Mass Effect being a sequel to the trilogy. Now you are setting yourself up. Number one, they're taking it back because they feel like that's what the players want, and that's what they do want. That's absolutely what they want.
100%.
They want to stay in the galaxy and in the world that they have created, even though you built it up to this crescendo of what happens is your guys' own imagination. Whatever you want, whatever happens from here on is whatever choices you made, and that's cool.
Yeah, I'm raising my hand.
Yeah,
because I know this is one of your favorite things. But do you think I'm sparking a fire?
Oh shit!
Get ready.
All right,
get ready.
Go for it.
Do you think in the beginning of that game you should have a choice on what you chose? So since it's a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
The end of the game is your choice.
Yes.
Do you make the next game choice-based? Now, I know that they've already kind of released a little bit of information on this,
Mm-hmm.
but in your personal opinion, should you, before you start the game, have a choice of did you make everybody synthetic, or did you wipe out all Reaper tech?
The problem is that when you're making a new game based off of that, you have such a, like, if you choose the destroy ending, the way it was explained is that all AI tech is gone.
All Reaper, all Mass Effects.
Yeah, all the stuff that's based on Reaper tech is gone. So you have to completely rebuild. And that is the only ending for which Shepard is supposed to live, if you have a high enough rating. Then you have the Control, where Shepard dies to become basically a AI based off of your morale of Shepard, and now he is in control of the Reapers, or it, however. And then you have the Synthesis ending, where the tech and the bio come together. That's three very different galaxies that you're going into. Then
can be, cannot be, because I could feel like you could make at least two of those endings work together. The synth, like, maybe not, but the AI where Shepard's kind of there and he is controlling the tech, you could. But the problem is, like you said, those are three completely different stories, so you have to choose one. So here's the problem from the beginning. Not everyone's going to be happy.
Yes.
2/3 of the community is going to be upset.
Because then there's the other side of that. So then what we've seen of it so far is Liara walking up what seemed to be a snow-covered mountain. It's a snow-covered Reaper corpse. And she finds an N7 logo from a chest plate. Makes you think that she's out looking for Shepard. Even though there's other N7s, that is the logo that has been used for the protagonist of Shepard. So, Dead Reaper, and then a lot of the stuff shows a hint at Geth. So here is my prediction, because this is what the double-sided coin. You either have nobody happy because they have to choose an ending, and that affects your layout of the story, or you pick one. I think they pick one, but that undermines your choice.
Yep. You're on a catch-22 here.
So,
because you could build a great game around, let's say, it's Shepard taking over.
Mm-hmm.
Bang. But all of us have picked other things, like destroying the Reapers.
Yep.
All of our stuff doesn't matter. All of our choices at that point no longer matter.
Right. So that was the biggest complaint about Mass Effect 3's ending, is that your choices across the trilogy don't seem to matter in the end, and then you get your ending. And then even that, and the original version of the endings, no matter what you chose, it seemed like it was the same animations, just different colors. And that kind of pissed people off.
That's very true.
Yeah, and they did make a lot to fix that with the epilogue thing that they added to really set the layout of what happens-ish, what is to come potentially. But when it seems like, okay, because when you choose the destroy ending, Reaper tech is destroyed, AI is destroyed. So Edie is gone, Geth are gone, anything that was remotely on that day is gone. But it kind of seems like, to me, that they're going with the destroy ending based off their hints. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that they are doing something. But it seems like her finding the chest plate of Shepard, it means that she's hunting for a live Shepard. That means Shepard's not an AI. A live Shepard's in the destroy ending. It's a Reaper corpse. It's a destroy ending. But then they're sprinkling in Geth. Did it not destroy the Geth like we were told it was going to? Was there something that happened when that happened that wasn't entirely accurate to what we were told? And I guess that is where you go from there. I don't know. We are many years away from that at this point, because we know Dragon Age is going to come out first.
Here's the thing, though. If all of the endings all at once, I don't think it'll go over well. If you say basically you chose to destroy, let's say they just choose to destroy, but it doesn't actually destroy them, then that means that the whole game up to that point was a lie.
Well, and it really depends because of did it destroy the Reapers, and then or is this a pocket of Geth that were not reachable by the were they so
That
far
means they would have to be out in deep space,
in dark space, or
dark space, sorry.
they had been venturing out further than what the mass relays could reach. That's a decent way to get around it, that it did destroy everything, but so I don't know. I'm curious. I want to know more, but I am just sitting back, not letting myself get too worked up about it because it's a long ways away. It is here's another prediction. I feel like we're going to get the complete FF7 remake trilogy before we even see the new Mass Effect. Because I feel like they already have a basis of where they're going with the remake trilogy. And obviously the development cycle for the sequel is a little shorter, which is funny because we just got some few updates, Mike. They have been releasing dev questions, Q&As, over the last couple of days. This is now day 3. And the first question was answered by Yoshiniro Katase, producer of Rebirth. He was also the original director. How is development progressing on Rebirth? And he said development is progressing smoothly and according to plan. We are currently working on nailing down a release date. When they release those screenshots, that is in bold text. Working on nailing down a release date. Buddy, that is...
I know.
They told us last year, winter of 2023.
No.
So is that this year?
Winter of 2023 would be this year.
It would be.
Are we getting a pushback, or are they legit?
I wouldn't be too upset if it got pushed into early 2024, because that's not that long of a wait. And get it right. In fact, they've done the original remake got pushed back by a few months, and then it got pushed back by another month, if you remember, or maybe 2 months. It was almost, because it was supposed to come out in February, but it came out in April. Yep. And it came out right when the pandemic, when it was like right when we were in lockdown. And
though, that could have been the perfect opportunity, because if they knew this pandemic was coming, if they had a hint of like, if this is when we're going to shut down everybody, when is the best time to put out this game? During the time where everybody or a lot of people have a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah. It worked out for me.
It worked out for me.
Yeah.
So I had the week off anyways, remember?
Yep. I ended up, yeah, I know you had the week off because I had the week off for the original release date.
Yep.
And then they moved it.
And then I was just like, I want to talk shit. But then we went on shutdown, or we shut down. So then it was like it didn't really matter.
No, it didn't matter at all. Because I want to say that I came back from my vacation. I had like a week and a half off. And we finished out that half the week. And then when we came back for the next week, it was like, oh, hey, by the end of this week, we're shutting down for 8 weeks. Yep. Like, oh, damn. Anyways, question 2 was released the next day. How will players journey through the world of the outside of Midgar in FF7 Rebirth? The answer is players will be able to journey across the wide and multifaceted world with a high degree of freedom, experiencing a myriad of different stories along the way. Hints at openness. Third question.
We know that you will have to do, Vincent. All characters will be 100% forced through the story this time around.
What they have said, yes. What they have said is that once you get out of Midgar and you start getting a little bit level of freedom, you are. They said expect everything that you have played from the original game, but maybe not in the order that you played it before. Maybe when you go out in the real world, there maybe Nibelheim's closer to Midgar than what it was to begin with. Maybe they're going to rearrange the story to kind of fit like a new narrative that they're kind of fooling around, but we still get to see everything, right?
I think that they might change it because I don't know if they've really liked the structure.
Yeah.
How the game ran originally.
Yeah.
And it's good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Great. But maybe they changed the structure to make a little bit more sense. Because I do remember when I first played it, there were a couple times going on? Why are we over here? Like, I don't understand. And then it all comes together later on. But,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and if you're thinking about getting another shot at telling the story in a different way, and you know that from a diehard fan's standpoint that you don't want to muddy the waters too much, it's a great opportunity to kind of like mess with it a little bit in a way of making it more cohesive.
Yes.
The third question was which was released today as our recording. There will be another one tomorrow when this episode releases, which we won't get to talk about. But what are some of the key things to look forward to in the Rebirth story? The answer: players will witness a chain of narrative developments that lie at the very heart of the Final Fantasy VII story while discovering each character's destiny. Buddy, that's a
bold statement.
We are going to discover each character's destiny, which means we are going to get further clued in on what's happening with Cloud, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to get further clued in as to what happens with Aerith. This is a 3-game set.
My question. Are we getting every character in this disc? And I say this disc. We go back. That's old school there, right there. That's legit old school Final Fantasy right there. So on this disc, we're getting all the characters? Classic. Sorry.
Well, no. Go ahead.
In this... I don't know how to say it because all I can think about is this.
All right.
In this portion of the story, are we getting all the characters? Because there is one character that you get much later when you find out that he's a saboteur.
So yes, and we've already seen that character once in the first game as just a kind of a cameo. When the plate falls, I do believe that's when you see him.
Yeah, staring at it like, what in the hell am I a part of here?
Yeah.
Very upset.
That, I tell you what, that is a storyline that I am looking so much into seeing more of. Because
they did so much more in the first one for him.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you really think about it, you got almost as much information about Cait Sith before.
Mm-hmm.
Almost the entire game of 7. You got more of it now because we saw him in the room arguing. Like,
yep.
You see it in the game when you're crawling through, but it's very emphasized. Him and the going up to this is wrong. We are wrong. What the heck?
Right.
I love it.
Yes, far. Same here. So they added the DLC when they put the game onto PC and on PS5, where they added the Yuffie. So they already introduced Yuffie and her story leading up, which was really neat because we got to see more of that story that we never got to see.
Yes.
Which was amazing. So for them to put Yuffie in, technically she's a part of the first game's story. It was added on, but still, technically, right?
Question is she going to stalk? She stalks them. We know that she does. So, like, this is perfect. Like, that introduction to her was perfect because she stalks them to steal their materia. Yep.
So then you have 2 characters left that we have not been introduced to, Cait Sith and Vincent. Meanwhile, you're going to be juggling characters. Red 13 has a huge character stuff when you go to Cosmo Canyon. You learn about his...
Sid.
And Sid, I forgot about Sid.
Wait a minute, wait a minute, where you going?
I can't believe I forgot about Sid.
What the hell's wrong with you?
So you got Cait Sith. Yeah, Cait Sith, Vincent, and Sid as brand new party member characters, and then you're going to add in Yuffie as someone who we've already had a chance to deal with before, but she'll be joining in, and then you get to further establish other characters along the way, and that's something that I'm looking forward to as well. But is this game going to then end? It makes me wonder if they will. I don't know, because then there's so many different ways that you can chop off the story after part 2. But do you chop off the story at City of the Ancients with Aerith as the dark kind of sets up the darkness going forward of um, of kind of like how like The Empire Strikes Back kind of thing.
But
Where
but but doesn't holy take your life anyways when you cast it?
that
Wasn't
it could
wasn't that like the sacrifice of casting
holy.
holy?
I don't know because she summoned it.
But she seemed okay with her death already. She knew she was going to die. She didn't bother. That's what I'm saying. Is
Mm-hmm.
there like when you cast holy, are you going to die? Like, no
It's
matter
good.
what, are you destined to die?
I don't remember if that instantly if that kills you
I
because
don't know. Is it even explained?
I don't remember that. What I do remember is that uh, she mentions it early in the game how it doesn't do anything, and then they go get the black materia, but they give it to Sephiroth, and so then Sephiroth needs to get it. And that's not really Sephiroth; it's Genova, but Genova
Okay.
Sephiroth needs to get it to real Sephiroth in the Northern Cavern, and she goes in to summon Holy to stop that from happening, and it shows her praying and doing whatever she's doing, and then the Genova Sephiroth comes down to stop her and kills her in doing so. So then the materia falls from her ribbon and falls down into the water, and that's only later in the game do you see that then it starts glowing. So it did work, but then Sephiroth then encases it in some sort of shit and is blocking it from stopping Meteor. So that's the whole point of you going into the main cavern to confront Sephiroth at the end is to kill him finally. That way, Meteor or Holy can come out to stop Meteor from destroying the planet. But I don't know. Does Holy kill her, and does she know that to begin with, and why she didn't? I'm gonna
She
die.
didn't resist. She was fine. Like, doesn't it seem that she just kind of sit there and like she knew she never stopped?
That is gonna be the coolest thing about seeing that scene redone with more, because when you go up to his Cloud, you are controlling Cloud, but but he's being restricted. Sephiroth's trying to control him, and through his Genova cells that are inside of him, and then he even like reaches out for his sword to kill her himself, and he stops himself, and that's when she kind of gets out of her prayer trance and smiles at Cloud, and then Sephiroth's like, "Ah, fine, I'll do it myself." It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
It'd be interesting.
Um, Also, we wanted to talk about where did my list go? I had a list of stuff.
You have PlayStation on CD Projekt Red.
So when we were going to record, literally the day, it was either the day of or the day after that we recorded last time, that we were going to talk about this, and then we didn't get to it. The rumors going around that PlayStation was holding back for the PlayStation Showcase, that they have more stuff to show, but they didn't show it. And then there's rumors that they're going to be acquiring CD Projekt Red. That has come out to be false, but that rumor came out after there was something about them being a little bit more aggressive in expanding their acquisitions. So it kind of came out as that. Does not surprise me, because there's been talk of the last few years of them either making deals or acquiring IPs from people. Like there was talk about Konami, and what are they doing? And are they going to partner up with Sony? Of course, now we know that's not true. The Snake Eater remake is coming out across the platforms, so that's not happening. There was talk about Square, about Sony buying Square. That's not happening at the moment. That's not saying it won't happen. That'll be, if something like that happens, that's a big thing.
That's a major thing.
So, I mean, could I see it?
Because the thing is Square has really repaired a lot of their stuff with Nintendo. Like, them and Nintendo are back to normal, like they were when they were releasing Final Fantasy.
Yeah, damn near. I mean, they have a lot of cool like exclusive stuff that goes over to the Switch first, like the Octopath stuff and stuff that they're releasing. So, yeah. So was PlayStation holding back? That's a hard thing to say, because that showcase seemed to show a lot of stuff that's coming out, but not a lot of stuff that was directly from first party. Whereas,
I think you're right.
So some people were a bit disappointed And maybe they have some stuff. Maybe they didn't want to muddy the waters too much with immediate releases. But I feel like it might end up coming back to bite them, especially if this Xbox showcase really shows off what their first party devs that they have acquired and have had for a long time have been working on to try and bolster their offerings. Because that is one thing that PlayStation's had on Xbox for years, over almost 2 decades, is they've had better exclusive games. Xbox hit the ground running when they came out, and they had a lot of cool IPs, the Fables and the Halos and the Forzas, and end up with Gears of War, and you had like, man, this is awesome. And then after Gears of War, it seemed to like stop there. And then you had some stuff, but it never really like made a splash big enough. Whereas on the PlayStation side, they struggled a little bit in the early PS3 days to get some first party stuff going. But once they started with Uncharted 2, and then finally released a Gran Turismo, and then started releasing like Little Big Planet, which is something new, they ended up firing on all cylinders and haven't really stopped. As far as getting,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few misses here and there from Sony, but not many. A lot of them have been quality. And
So,
so
go ahead.
I was just going to say that this could be maybe a changing of the tide, or at least at minimum give Sony a little bit of a slap in the face to, hey man, you're getting too comfortable, wake up a little bit.
I think that. Are we going to segue into Xbox
Yeah.
Showcase after this?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and roll into that. I think this Xbox Showcase is going to absolutely destroy PlayStation because there are a couple things we know that we're going to see. We're going to see the new Forza game. It's going to happen.
Yep.
We're going to see a lot of it. We're going to see Starfield. Now, Starfield's on the fence due to the backlash with Bethesda. We'll see how it goes. Everything I've seen from it, it looks good, but it all depends on execution. How the game's story flows really is going to impact how I feel about it. I will not purchase it. I was super excited for it, but now I've taken a couple steps back, and I want to watch and see what happens. Go ahead.
Are we going to see universal praise or an apology letter?
Yep. It's only the only two choices you got here right now. The real question is, what else is Xbox bringing to the table? So I sent you an article the other day.
Yep.
That the rumor is what we will see Fable. I don't know how concrete that is, but it tracks with the time frame and everything. So you've got Fable, which I hope they go back to 2, but make it kind of like Breath style. If they do that, for your choices change the world around you and the way that your appearance is, and the fact that maybe if you're too evil, some cities will not let you in. I think that would be amazing. The Fable games are great. Fable 2 is great. Fable 3 is good, but it kind of lackluster there at the end. There's some things that people didn't like, other things that people loved. So we'll see what they go from there. But we do know they have Fable, they have Forza, and they have Starfield. Now, are we going to finally see a teaser that's about Redfall? Or the new Elder Scrolls game?
Oh.
Where does it take place at? It's red.
Yeah.
Oh, another continent. Are you looking it up?
Yep.
Please tell me you are. Okay, good. But I think we'll see a little bit more, or at least how far they're in. We may not, because they may not want to pull anything away from Starfield.
Hammerfell?
Hammerfell. That's it. It's with the red guard. But yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot that Xbox has.
Yeah.
That they could show. I expect to see more Minecraft stuff.
Yes, because that's a project that's always an active
Always
development.
active. They always have something going on with it. But to be fair, that game is freaking massive.
It is. Um, I don't think we'll see Elder Scrolls 6 simply because.
I don't think we'll see. I think we'll hear something about it. I think after, you know how they do the after show.
Yeah.
I think that they might sit down with Todd and be like, "Hey, what about?" Because they're always going to ask. Anytime somebody sits down, somebody from Bethesda, where are we at with the next Elder Scrolls game, will come up.
I think whatever information we get will be very basic.
Yeah,
like we might get the confirmation of location,
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm doubtful of seeing anything more about it is simply because they are all in on this Starfield new IP. They need to get it rolling. There is hype for it because it's a Bethesda game, but it is a new IP. It's not Fallout. It's not Elder Scrolls. So a lot of people are going to be like you, kind of watching, because they have a separate direct or showcase just for Starfield. They didn't put that in with the other Xbox stuff. They want to.
So that gives you an hour. You have an hour of stuff to show.
Mm-hmm. We're going to see a lot, and that's why I don't think that we're going to see much about Elder Scrolls. But you might see stuff from the other Bethesda studios, like the id, like how they do Doom and Wolfenstein. I think we'll get a new something new from them going on over there. Then you have the other portion that they do Thief in. Did they do Prey or something like that? Was that the same developer?
They did Prey. Yeah, it's
yeah, but like
I don't have that game.
Bethesda owns, like, you're gonna get a little Bethesda portion in the Xbox thing that isn't Starfield, and then you might get a little bit of a nudge Elder Scrolls update. Hey, be ready, because after Starfield's done and been out for a little bit, you might be getting a few more updates about Elder Scrolls.
Studio.
Arcane. There you go. Thank you.
Arcane made Prey.
But then you got a lot of stuff from from Xbox and the studios that they have acquired. They might, since they have the deal going, show stuff going on with Activision Blizzard. But the deal's not done. But they'll probably showcase it at theirs. I did see something about Xbox is working on getting around the UK to finalize the deal, going so far as maybe they will remove Activision Blizzard from UK entirely, like studios or offices over there, to get around them blocking that deal. I do think Xbox is going to have a damn good showcase this year. I think we're going to see a lot of first looks at stuff that may not be coming out for a while, because obviously Starfield is coming out soonish this fall, and they are going to be like, this is the big Xbox game of the year. Go out and get it.
I think that PlayStation is playing it smart. They don't want to throw out any times of like, hey, this is when we're going to come out with this, blah, blah, blah. Like their big show, because they're holding back and seeing, well, what is Microsoft bringing to the table? When are they going to throw out, they know 7's on there. The new Forza game's out. It's coming out. It's coming out hopefully this year. So they're probably like, we don't want to announce anything because we don't want anything close to that. Because everybody knows that's a huge game when it comes to racing.
They did announce the release date for Spider-Man, though, right?
Yes.
When was that? On September 8th? I want to say that's when it was. They didn't say it during the showcase, but they said it like a couple days later. Well, darn it! I searched for it and it's not saying it.
It's same here, so maybe we're wrong.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I saw wrong, but I could have swore that they did announce a PS5 console,
aiming for fall of 2023.
Okay, Spider-Man 2 PS5 console. Marvel Spider-Man 2 is a. Come on now. I did not make that up. I know I saw it. And I know I showed it to you. This is frustrating.
Bless you.
Thank you, sir. Muted my microphone for the podcast for that. But yeah, like what the heck?
I don't see it on here.
I don't either. We'll have to do maybe talk about that on the next episode.
June?
To see.
No, wait, never mind.
I did see that the Spider-Man 2 is double. The map is double the size of the original game. They've added a Queens and Brooklyn. Okay. So I found the picture of the console, but the picture of the console was posted by somebody else, or reshared by somebody else that doesn't have the release date attached to it. Maybe if I just go on freaking Insomniac's Twitter page.
Yeah, you're gonna do that by yourself.
Yep. This shouldn't be too hard to find. Come on now. Yeah, they didn't post it. Hey, maybe I am.
Maybe we just crazy.
I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm just crazy. Anyways, if we get any more updates with that, let's say. Yep, that's all I'm seeing too.
All 2023.
Because I could have swore that I freaked out because when I saw the update saying that with the console that it was going to come out on September 8th, which I think September 8th is it a Friday? Yeah, it is a Friday. So it tracks. And
it doesn't track then.
Well, no, it does. Yeah, it does.
Thursdays.
No, the Spider-Man PS4 came out on a Friday. And it came out, I want to say, the week after Labor Day. I want to say that like when I was first playing it, I was sitting here, my kid was asleep, and that's when I heard that dog kill the damn cat in the neighbor's door.
September 7th, 2018.
Huh? September 7th. See, so it's around the same time.
So it'll be around the same time. But I didn't know it was.
I think Xbox is going to do a damn good job, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to a little bit more of this Summer Games Fest to see what we're going to see, because now the Summer Games Fest can be a little bit bigger of a thing now that E3 is completely dead and gone. Where in the last couple of years, like the Summer Games Fest thing has gone on for like a month, where you don't get a big showcase. You get like a little bit of news every day. You know, it's like
it was Friday.
And then this and that and this and that. Yeah, big games have been coming out on Fridays. They moved away from the Tuesday.
It was Tuesdays. Remember, it used to be Tuesdays and Thursdays.
It was primarily Tuesdays.
It's primarily Tuesdays.
And then now Fridays have taken that over because I think they want people to be able to have the weekend to play it.
I mean, I don't know why they haven't been doing that from the beginning.
I know. Same here, man. Same here.
Everybody works.
I remember the FF7 remake coming out on because my shipment was delayed. That was the bad thing about the pandemic release, is that my collector's edition or limited edition version of that got delayed by. Came out on Friday. I didn't get it in the mail until Wednesday, but I beat it on Monday because I ended up double dipping and getting the digital version. And it was the same thing almost happened with Last of Us Part 2, where on the night before I was supposed to get it, because that was like Father's Day weekend. On the night before I was supposed to get it, it said it was tracking for Friday shipment or delivery, and then it came back and said, "Oh, we don't know when it's showing up."
I waited in line.
So, my wife let me get it again, and literally it showed up on Saturday. It showed up a day late. But yeah, that's we had something else to talk about. There's not a whole lot of news about it, but I'll talk about it briefly. The Dolphin emulator team was going to release their emulator on Steam for the Steam Deck, and they got told to stop. Steam reached out to them and said, "We have a cease and desist from Nintendo." And you're like, "Really?" And like, yeah. And apparently within the Dolphin emulator, there is a key code that allows you to launch the games direct from the Wii. And that's not necessarily good. Nintendo was reached for comment, and while I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me, they said they feel like illegal emulation holds back innovation. And they have not pursued further matters with this. They have just told them to not release it on Steam. So we don't have any further updates on that, other than Nintendo said don't release it on Steam, and I think they're waiting on to see what the Dolphin team does to address the issue. So it's not good because we just spent a couple episodes talking about all these handhelds and emulation and keeping games alive. Like how many games on the GameCube are just stuck on the GameCube? How many there's still some that are on there just stuck. And same for the Wii. The Wii is the same way. The Wii is even worse due to the fact that it was legitimately just almost entirely motion controls.
Yeah.
In that when they released the Skyward Sword version, they had to completely redo the control scheme to make it work for people that didn't want to use motion controls. So that really sucks because the Wii has some sleepers on it that's just stuck on there. The only way that you can play it is through emulation.
And I will say this.
Or original hardware. I'm sorry, original hardware.
I played
but
Skyward Sword. I started it and I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be a great story." I really hate the motion controls. Like I didn't finish it due to the fact that I absolutely hated the way it controlled.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they updated it and made it. It's still kind of weird with the flipping the, you have to use your thumbstick to do your attacks a certain way, but it's weird.
Yep. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. We've been talking a lot about emulation and stuff like that here lately, and the fact that Nintendo went after one of the emulating developers. It kind of made me look at it, but then it was like, I'm glad we didn't talk about it because then literally the day after we would have talked about it, there was a little bit more news that came out about it, so we kind of waited, and then it didn't end up being as big a deal as I thought it was going to be, but it still could have an effect on companies going after and really diving into like emulating their old codes and stuff that they have copyrights to. Like that is the one thing that where when you start seeing clone consoles come out, like the NES, Super NES, and Genesis and stuff like that, the reason why they're able to release that is because a lot of those copyrights are now just gone and they don't have them anymore. And so that's why you're starting to see N64 emulation like machines come out a little bit where they're, like where you have the clone consoles and stuff like that. You're starting to see that for the N64, but it's harder because obviously the emulation for that is just rough anyway. But there's a lot of like people still working on innovating to try and get that up and running because there's so many games that are just locked, man. They're locked on those consoles, and you either have to play it on the original console or find a way to play it in a newer way. But I'm all for keeping games alive because games are awesome, and sometimes you want to feel the way that you felt when the first time you played a certain game, and you put it in, and it takes you back to when you were 12 years old, 13 years old, playing whatever game for the first time with your friends or by yourself or however you did it. And that is the cool thing about games, that they can make you feel that way. And it saddens me to see so many games across generations just forgotten and stuck because of there's just not a way to bring them forward other than what we're doing. And I don't want anything to be able to stop that from happening because I want people to be able to enjoy the games without having to necessarily break the bank. That's been another thing that we've talked about. Just the prices of a lot of these old games have gone up. The consoles have gone up. The peripherals, you have a lot of people making newer style controllers for the old stuff just to keep them alive. And I stay up on all that stuff just to like. I really admire the people who appreciate and love the history of gaming to do whatever they can to try and keep it viable and alive. So I think that's all we got, bud.
I believe so.
I think that's all we got, and we'll be back here probably within a week or two to talk about the Xbox Showcase. I'm not sure when we're going to record that. We'll probably record it soon after it gets done. I don't know if it'll be the day of, but it'll be a day or two after that, and we'll get it to you. You get our reactions and everything for the Xbox Showcase. There was a thing about that being in theaters, and I did sign up for the Game Fest thing or Fan Fest thing, but I missed. Like, it came out on the 1st for tickets, and I still don't understand it. I don't understand if they were going to be all across the place, if they were just going to be certain places. I got confused, and so I will say Xbox, when you said, hey, this is going to be in theaters, but do all this other stuff, that was confusing, and I wasn't a fan of it. So either just make it easy to follow and understand or don't do it.
Agreed.
Maybe I'm just dumb, but that's almost an episode title. Episode 177. Maybe I'm just dumb.
Yeah, I'm just
But
yeah.
Mike, thank you once again for joining me here.
Always.
And thank all of you for listening and watching wherever you do. We're all across the interwebs. We're on the social medias. We're going to be on TikTok here shortly. We actually do have a clip from last episode that we talked about putting up, and we're going to put up some older stuff, and that's going to happen. I've got that clip saved and ready to go whenever I need to get that to you.
Yes.
And of course, you can see our beautiful faces on YouTube as we're talking to each other, and you can download the podcast on the go on all the podcasting platforms that are available out there: Apple, Spotify, all those good places. So until next time, I've been Brando.
And I've been Mike.
Take it easy, guys. Have a good one. Enjoy the games. Be happy. We have a lot. We are in an awesome age of gaming that hopefully continues. We've had a lot of cool games this year, and hopefully no more high-level apology letters coming in our future. Later on, fellas.